Welcome everybody to Wealth Wednesday. This is Jody Humphrey coming to you today from Atlanta, Georgia, here in my home. And I am joined as usual by the great team of Zach and Kimberly Odie. And Zach will be leading us today in our conversation in a few minutes, of which we're very excited to hear. And if you've not heard this particular presentation, it's the one that I find to be one of my very favorite presentations I've ever heard anybody do. I love it. I think it's fundamental. It needs to be one we hear a lot more, and excited to hear it today. So get your team on. It's that kind of a call. So be texting around, get your people here. What an incredible week coming up! It's going to be very special. I want to share a couple of things real quick. We have some upcoming events that we want to make sure that you're aware of. So let me share them with you real quick here. And we've got in Atlanta, and for those of you that don't know, real quick, is that we've been on a national tour. I was all through Florida over the last week and a week and a half, and it was tremendous. And in Denver, Colorado was fantastic. So that was awesome. Went to Texas, had the Texas takeover, and that was fantastic. And so now here in Atlanta, next week is going to be just a tremendous springboard to finishing up the year. Now, this first meeting is something that we're going to zoom out, and it's going to be an incredible event that you probably want to get out to your teams. So, can you see this okay? Everybody see this flyer? Good. Okay, got as part of the Atlanta takeover. The first night, we're having what we call the Economic Summit. Now, we've had this for years. It's been something that's been a tradition. We've had great success with that, and we want to use it again. So it's the Economic Summit. It's going to take place on September the 16th, which is a week from today. It'll be at 7 p.m. It'll start. We're going to have the mozone and food and refreshment served from 6 to 7 that night. If you're in town, it'll be at the Buckhead Club. But it's going to be just a very strategic. A lot of people know that one of the best ways to go recruit and build an organization is through indirect recruiting by letting people go out and see what we do for families. And also, it's just a great way to gather clients and gather assets under management and be able to go write tons of premium and production. So as you know, people are looking for how money works. They're spending money going to all kinds of seminars throughout their cities and learning just one specific thing. Hey, come learn about real estate. Come learn about wealth transfers. Come learn about wills and trusts. Come learn about all this. And I'm so excited to announce that for one night only, under one roof, you're going to have the ultimate blue ribbon panel, and it's going to be a place where someone can come as an individual, as a business owner, as a husband and a wife, or a family, whatever, to come learn how money works. The secrets of the wealthy will be revealed, and all of our main pieces will be covered right in order. And we're going to have some a world-class blue ribbon panel that's going to be at the event. You're going to have the guests that will be there that are confirmed at this point is going to be Mark Stedeman, who is going to be there. He's the guy who runs the Net Law, and he will be there to do the wills and trust story. You will also have Matt Salvatore from Corbridge that will be there, and he's going to do a phenomenal job. And no one explains that story better than he does on how to create tax-free retirement and all the things that go with this, the insurance blanket. So he'll do a world-class job. We're also going to have Brian Spiridonov, who is one of the guys who heads up land banking. He's going to be there giving a great presentation. There's a possibility of one other person being there that's from that side of the house. But in addition to that, we're going to have Zach and Kimberly both there. Zach representing the great way he articulates things, but in general, but he's going to be specifically going over the wealth format system, and then also Kimberly will be there to go over the annuity side of the house, but the story about how to go out and create that lifetime retirement income stream and all the things that go with that. So, and we'll also put just a bow around it the cherry on top with Mauricio adding just a piece at the end about how we're able to have that proprietary technology that allows that family to pull all those things together. So I am just very excited about this. So it's going to be at the Buckhead Club, and it will be that night, and it will be on this Zoom. So this is something I really think that all of you on a national level can use to get your people on. It'd be a great way to invite them to see what we do for families. It'll really be putting our best foot forward. So we're very, very excited about that event. So it's going to be absolutely awesome. So also, we have the whole Atlanta takeover. Now, this is a flyer that's got the whole 3 day situation under one flyer. You got that event that we just said on the 16th, and then on the 17th and 18th, we'll be having a presentation that will encompass those same principles, but it'll also be more of who we are as a company. Very excited about that. It's going to be 17th will be at Steve Gross's office, which is it says Marietta, but it's really northeast Atlanta. It's right there in the Vinings area by the Battery, if you're familiar with where the Atlanta Braves happen to play. So that event's going to be fantastic. And then at the home office, we'll be finishing it up. We'll have Steve Gross will be at the 17th, and then on the 18th, we'll definitely have Hubert at that event. So we're so excited about that. It's going to be next week. It's going to be fantastic. It's going to be just, I think, a great springboard for the rest of the year. For those of you that are really wanting to participate on that first night, the Economic Summit will be fantastic. We're excited about that. So, without any further ado, let's jump right into the program. Tim's here we missed him last week. I know he was been traveling, got a lot going. So, and also Mauricio is just put into the notes here at the bottom, and then we will make sure that you get this. There is a landing page for those of you, two landing pages. Now he has one that is prepared just for the Economic Summit and one that is for the whole tour. So we have that also. We'll make sure that that's dropped into the WhatsApp. So it's going to be awesome. So Tim, we're excited. We're in a complete growth mode. We're in a doubling mode. We're absolutely ready to go double. And also, he's also, by the way, Mauricio is going to be giving us what's called a cloning code, which allows each one of you to have to take the code that we have and put together your own landing page specific for yourself. So we'll help you with that. If you need help on that, he will maybe say something about that at the end. But Tim's here with us again. We've got a lot going on in the world. Tim, we're in the midst of doubling our whole hierarchy. You know, it's in the next 90 days and then double it again. So we're excited. So Tim, we're excited to hear from you.
All right. Hey, everybody. Well, welcome to a great Wednesday meeting. Sounds like there's so much going on here. I can't even begin to tell you. And then we're starting to bust loose up in Canada too. There's another big opportunity up there that Jody and I've been talking about. So we're excited about that. There's so much going on here at HCI. I can't even begin to tell you that the opportunity here is just unbelievable. So let me jump in here. There's it's been crazy lately. We've had this, so Israel attacked these Hamas leaders over there in Qatar, which has really kind of messed up all negotiations and thrown that whole thing into chaos. I don't know if anybody saw that in the news, but that's really caused some disruption in the oil markets. That's that's a risk off kind of situation over there in the oil kind of, so that's disrupted that whole thing. And so when you look at the oil markets, we're kind of teetering right in that mid 60 range. And actually, I haven't even checked it today, but I think what's going on here is we're going to see oil basically stay in that mid 60 range now, because you've got the Ukraine and Russia thing still going on, which is fragile because now they've stepped up some attacks. Ukraine is really figured out, I mean, talk about the underdog. Remember Mighty Dog? For those who are old enough, remember that character, Mighty Dog. Mighty Dog was like that superhero, a mouse or something that could go in and attack, and that's kind of what Ukraine has done, is they found a way to really find some of the weaknesses in Russia, and they're attacking some of the oil production facilities over there. And then you've got you've got this whole thing with Russia and Hamas. I mean Israel and Hamas, and that's kind of that whole kind of Euro. I mean that disruption going on in that part of the world there is causing some uneasy kind of what's going to happen with the oil markets over there. So where oil could be jacked up real quickly to $75 a barrel just overnight if anything goes wacky. So we're kind of watching that. The PPI got announced today, and it came in a lot better inflation wise than anybody expected. For August, it was down 0.1% versus up 0.3% that was expected. So let me talk about that as an implication because lately there's been a slowdown, a deterioration in some of the economic data coming out. Jamie Dimon was talking about it yesterday. He's the CEO of JP Morgan Chase, as we all know. He made this statement, clearly everything's slowing down. It's not a fast process as we've seen like during the COVID days where everything kind of dropped really quick. This is a slowing down process that's taking time. The bull market is still in full swing, but in this slowing down kind of process, we're seeing different messages come. So the Federal Reserve is going to meet on the 17th, which is coming up here, and everyone is kind of expecting at least a 25 basis point cut in rates. And there's a couple people out there said they should have done it this last time. So now they're talking about the Fed may even drop rates as much as 50 basis points. Okay, now think about this. If you look at the US Treasuries, they've already priced in 25 basis points. And they're starting to price in even a little higher. They're starting to possibly price in 50 basis points. And so the real estate market is picking up right now. It's been dead pretty much for the last 6, 8 months. And already I've been talking to a number of agents around Atlanta, and they said, yes, the market is picking up considerably. There's more product on the market. The rates right now, they just confirmed on a 30-year VA was 5.25, 5.3, right around there. That's pretty good. That's some of the best we've seen in a long time. They're saying that they expect to see something around 5 in the next 2 to 3 months. So that's going to help the economy, I think, when you start seeing the real estate market pick up. What's really driving things right now in this bull market still is the artificial intelligence side. So as that keeps going, more and more tech companies are investing in artificial intelligence, which is driving NVIDIA and all the other tech companies. NVIDIA is experiencing a number of competitors that are also putting up chips and competing with them. So they're kind of getting at that point where you see a little bit of stagnation, and they're still growing, but not growing exponentially as they had in the past. So here's where we're seeing some ripples in the market, and this is all good for us. This is what's great about when we see controversy in the market is we're seeing some insider selling. I reported on this the other day. You're seeing a bunch of insiders starting to sell off shares. When you see large share sell-off, so Jeff Bezos, like Amazon, you're seeing NVIDIA's CEO sell-off, Corning, Applied Digital's. When you see large block sell-offs, they have to report this 90 days in advance that they're going to sell their insider shares. And so when you see these big sell-offs about insiders, they usually know that that's their company's higher share valuation, and they want to get the most for their shares as an insider and sell it into the market strength. And that's what's happening right now. So that usually tells you that's their guesstimate that that's the highest point of their stock. And so when we see that, that's a number of these companies are doing that, not just a handful. So that's usually an indicator that we're getting near the top of the market, and this could go on for some time. But my guesstimate is we're probably reaching the top of the market here. So the Fed could also keep the market going for a while if they start dropping rates 25, 50 basis points. If the Fed drops another 100 basis points, maybe two or three times here over, 100 total, two or three times over the next 2 to 3 times that they meet, then I think you're going to see the markets continue to go up until they hit an inflection point. Where that inflection point happens, we don't know. But I forecast that we're probably going to see the market continue to prosper here through the end of the year, which is great for us and also great for our clients in our products that we're in. But also, if it doesn't, they're protected in the IULs in the way that these products are built. So this is all a good forecast. And going into the first quarter of next year, I still think we're going to see a correction. We're long overdue, which is perfect for us from a recruiting perspective. Our story gets stronger and stronger every day of what we're doing here. We're building a bit. I mean, Jody's team here is getting stronger and stronger, and I mean the quality of everybody on this team here is amazing. So I just encourage everybody to, keep doing your jobs, keep doing what you're doing, recruiting people, and I think you're going to be heavily rewarded as this gets on and on. So, Jody, back to you.
Yeah, appreciate it so much, Tim. And I really concur with what he said about Canada. Just so you'll know, my last quarter of the year, that's one of my top 2 or 3 priorities. I know that Sam and Don Mitchell are going to be a big part of that with myself. But anybody else that wants to come on for the ride, let me know because I got a great feeling about this. So I'm very bullish on that. So thank you, Tim.
You bet.
All right, guys, we're turning it now over to Zach Odie, and he's going to be leading us into a presentation, conversation. And I want to really get used to that word, the word of conversation. So get your people involved in these conversations. And I think if you can, great things will happen. And this is what's called the UnQualify Me conversation, better known for many of us as Brother A and Brother B. And if you ever want to get verbiage down, this is it. And it's very clear, very powerful on how the IUL concept can change lives. So, Zach, look forward to hearing from you.
All right. Well, thank you. And yeah, we're probably not going to have a lot of conversation today, but we will certainly have conversation down the road. I know that what Jody means is you have to be comfortable with the information enough to have a conversation with somebody outside of our circle. And I will say, regardless of where you're coming to this event from, whether you're live with us right now or whether you're watching it post through the YouTube channel or whether you're watching it live on YouTube, this is a training. So these are training concepts for our internal agents, and so the idea is that people can grasp exactly what we do and be able to articulate that. So see if I can get my screen sharing here. Looks good to me, I think. So I'll start out by asking a question that's rhetorical. I don't want anybody necessarily to unmute and answer, but if you were to ask most people, what's the #1 type of product that's used for retirement planning today? 99% of the people you talk to are going to say the 401k. And so a lot of people don't understand much about a 401k other than the fact that maybe they have one and that money comes out of their check every month at work, and they have possibly some sort of a match from their employer to go along with that. So I'm going to kind of tell you a little bit to start out with about the history of the 401k, where it came from, what it was originally designed. 401k is not really a thing. It's a code in the way that the IRS treats this specific type of investment. So 401ks as we know them today started in 1978. Not as we know them today, but the code 401k was introduced by the Revenue Act of 1978. And basically what that allowed was for people to use this like an executive bonus. It was never intended to be used the way it was written. But in this time frame, if somebody got a major bonus, let's say if I was a high-ranking executive and I got a bonus, even if I wasn't going to receive that, even if it was deferred compensation down the road, I had to pay tax on that bonus prior to actually receiving it. So this Revenue Act created 401 subsection K that said I can wait and pay tax on that money later, even though I've already been granted that as far as compensation goes, as long as I leave it sitting there and do those kind of things. So in 1980, there's a guy that's known as the father of the 401k, a guy named Ted Benna. 1980, 2 years after this act was passed, he was a benefits consultant. He's working with one of his customers on ways to save them more money, on ways to retain employees, those kind of things. And he basically read this and said, well, if we can allow CEOs and people to defer tax on deferred compensation, if you will, why can't we do that across the board for everybody and entice them to defer some of their compensation and put it into one of these accounts and not pay tax on it right now, pay tax on it down the road? That was basically where he went. He went with one of his customers and they said no. So he did it with his company at that point in time. And that was the first ever employee offered 401k. Now, I show this because it's really important, I think, to understand. And again, it's a concept. So it's really important to understand when large agencies like the IRS act quickly, it's usually not necessarily for the benefit of of us, the people. It's a lot of times because they see something that benefits the bottom line. It benefits their agency, those kind of things. So I just want to point out the dates and how quickly this happened. If I go back, Revenue Act was passed in 1978. Ted Benna tried this in 1980. And then all of a sudden, 1 year later in 1981, they issued new rules. And they said, wow, why would they do that? Well, I'm going to show you why they did that here in just a few minutes. But also, I want you to understand how fast this happened. Within 2 years, nearly half of all large companies were switching from pension plans to 401k plans or considering doing it. Now, why would my company offer me something like this? Bottom line, these are employee retention plans. That's what these are designed to do, is to keep employees here working for me that I've invested all this time and effort and training instead of going off and working with somebody else. So that's the idea behind this. The same thing that pensions was to keep you there for 30 years and then guarantee you some income in retirement. Well, let's take a look. Why did companies switch? We know that I can tell you, I think the IRS switched their thinking on this very quickly because they saw the future income that would come from people having money in deferred accounts like these. But bottom line, the reason employees or companies switched is because it's just cheaper. I'm going to talk. 401ks are what's called defined contribution plans, where you're going to contribute a certain amount, right? They don't tell you how much you're going to get out on the back end. Whereas before these, the most popular were pension plans, which those are defined benefit plans. So it's not necessarily about how much you put in, it's about how much you're guaranteed to get out. Most of them are based on a percentage of your highest 2 years and those kind of things, something like that. I've dealt with a lot of teachers over the years, so I'm very familiar with teacher pension plans and the way those things work. So, but they didn't do that for any reason other than it was cheaper. And this is just to show you this frame of reference. This is showing you how much it costs per hour to run a defined benefit versus a defined contribution. It was just cheaper for the company's bottom line. So some people ask why, because I'm going to basically show you, in my opinion, why a 401k is an outdated tool to use. Now, I believe in strategies that where if an employer is giving you a match, take that match. But I want to talk to you about not really that now, but about how the things work in general and what kind of tax scenarios. So when the 401k was done this way, when Ted Benna did that in 1980, was this a good idea for an investor? And that's the big question, is why would we be doing this now if it wasn't a good thing for us when it started? Well, look at the tax brackets in 1978 when that tax resolution was passed. That's a massive number of differences and changes and everything else. But the main thing I want you to see is the little red circle there. The top tax bracket was 70%. So there's a lot of people, and I had an uncle that was this way. He was like, I can't wait until rates change so I can, pay less taxes and I can start using my CDs again. We're not in that world right now, but this was a good idea. To defer 70% tax to maybe draw it at a later rate was a good idea for them. But now let's talk about what's happened since then with the history of tax rates. 1978, we just showed you the top bracket 70%. 1988, totally different tax rates, right? Now there's only two, and the top's at 28%. So if I started putting money in 1978 and I retired in 1988, I just totally won, and it was a great investment for me. But what's happened to tax rates since 1988? That's a long time ago, for those of you that don't realize that. And so what's happened since? Well, from 1988 until now, this is the 2024 rates. 25's changed slightly on the limits, but the brackets have stayed the same. So gone from 28 to top tax bracket up to 37. So best case scenario, if you're still down in one of the lower brackets, it's been a wash. It's been a push, right? But the difference is we're making more money now. So the brackets are anyway. I could go down so many rabbit holes with this stuff, but I want you to get the 30,000 foot version, right? So we talk about planning for retirement, and we agreed, all of you agreed with me, whether you realize it or not, when I asked what's the number one thing used for retirement is the 401k. Well, we still think like the stool on the left. The three-legged stool of retirement is something that people referred to for years and years, where you would have a pension. You'd work for 30 years, you'd retire with a pension. You'd supplement that with a Social Security income that was going to come out and help you. And then you would also have some personal savings. But what we look at now and what we realize is that you hear constantly about the solvency of Social Security and whether it's going to be there or not. When I'm working with my clients in planning, I say if it's there, great. We'll add it to the equation at that point in time, but we want to be prepared outside of that. Well, if you take away the pension and you replace it with a 401k, the next question is whose money is in the 401k? It's your money, right? When you look at that balance on your 401k and you log in, it doesn't say that it's, what you're going to get when you retire. It doesn't give you a defined benefit. It gives you a defined amount that you have there that you've contributed. So we've basically eliminated one of the three legs, and we're really unsure about the other one of the three legs. So the only one left is our 401k, and it's our personal savings. And if you want to see something really scary, look at the average amount that's in the 401k in the United States. I think it's about 1 year of the median income in the United States is the average balance in 401ks. So that means that the average person could retire for basically 1 year and have to go back to work if that's the only thing they've done. So what I want to point out, right, is that why haven't we changed the way we behave? If we know we're going in the wrong direction and we know we're not prepared for retirement, I mean, we are literally as a population headed for retirement like a freight train headed for a cliff. Most people that we talk to on a daily basis, when we're sitting down and doing their fact finding and we're talking about their plans and their goals, the connection between what they want to retire with and what they're actually working with it's totally and completely. It's like they've had a lobotomy. It's like the right brain and the left brain don't connect. And that's probably because it's painful or they're unaware, or maybe there's nobody doing what we do, which is really important. And that's educating them on what they need to do now to be ready for retirement. This magazine cover from Time Magazine said why it's time to retire the 401k. They didn't say, is it time? They said why it is time. Now, the most interesting thing about this, you'd think, well, okay, great. This is some new information that I'm getting today. I'm going to go find this Time Magazine article and I'm going to read it. You're going to have to go all the way back to October of 2009 to find that article. Now, if Time Magazine, fairly reputable publication, said in 2009 it was time to retire the 401k, why are we still using it as our number one retirement vehicle now? I mean, that's $1 million question in my opinion. But the answer to it is because there aren't enough of us telling the story that I'm telling you right now and helping folks realize they've got to do something different. Why do we have to do something different, and why did this happen? Well, if you look at the date that this article came out, October 2009, some of you, like myself, remember what happened in 2008. This was the first time that people who solely retired or solely relied on a 401k for their retirement assets had a timing issue. And that was the market crashed. And we've jokingly said, and tongue in cheek, when 401ks became 201ks and so on and so forth. But guys, the timing risk of protecting your assets is huge when you're planning for retirement. And these guys literally had their assets cut in half and had to retire. So that's why a lot of people started going back for encore careers and those kind of things, because they just weren't prepared. Well, let's talk about a new way of looking at things, right? So again, these are concepts. This is training. So if you have specific questions, make sure you talk to whoever invited you to listen to this or sent this link to you and ask them to look at your situation specifically, because I'm comparing two brothers age 35 with exactly the same investment amount and exactly the same internal rates of return and all those kind of things. But what I am doing is I'm investing it in different ways. Right. So this particular scenario, it's a simple way for you to understand the difference between the 401k, or the old way as Brother A has it here, and using a different type of product like an index universal life or some sort of a product like that. And I don't have a Roth in here, but I can show you, not today, but later, why it's still very beneficial to look at the Brother B scenario in this case. So let's talk about it. There's three phases of retirement or planning for retirement. There's the accumulation phase, and then there's accumulation and there's distribution. So really there's two. And so in the accumulation phase, what I'm going to show you here is that they put out $7,200 a piece out of their pocket annually, right? Brother A, you can see the breakdown, 401k contributions. His match was not a very good one in this case, but he bought a term insurance policy because his need for his family was $250,000. Now, that's a very low term insurance threshold too. So a lot of these numbers, now I should probably go back in and do that. But for argument's sake, let's just look at how it handles it. Brother B put $7,200 into an annual premium annually into his index universal life policy. Now, who made the right decision here? Well, for some of us, we're still thinking on that old school thing, or we're thinking we're going to do what everybody else does, and instead of thinking outside the box or looking for something different, because why would our companies offer us something that isn't best for us, right? We don't want to think that we're getting really pushed in the wrong direction. So look at 30 years later, and I still say Brother A looks pretty good here if you look at this. So Brother A's got $708,000 in his 401k, right? It is still subject to market fluctuations, and his principal's not guaranteed, i.e. the 2008 scenario. Brother B's got a $619,000 cash value inside his index universal life. Principal's guaranteed, locked in, not to be lost. Now, Brother A has no more insurance because he had a 30-year term policy and it's expired, and now it's really cost prohibitive for him. Or maybe he's had a diagnosis and he doesn't qualify, something like that, but he's got no insurance. He saved over those 30 years an estimated cumulative $65,000 in taxes that he didn't pay over that process. Brother B was putting in after-tax money, so he was taking that money in his check instead of putting it in the 401k, paying current tax rates as he went through his 30-year career. So he didn't save any money on taxes throughout that process. So that's where I came from there. He does, however, have an $800,000 plus death benefit that has living benefits attached if we set it up. Everything we sell or everything we set up has those living benefits attached, which means if you get sick or whatever, you can access that death benefit, not just wait till you die and your beneficiaries get it. So again, he's paying no more premiums after those 30 years. So they're both done contributing, and you see the numbers. Which plan makes you feel more financially secure if you're looking at it? 708,000 is more than 619, right? Most of us think about life insurance as an expense, not a value when we're planning, because it costs money, and we don't like to think about actually needing to use it. But in this case, he also had the tax savings. So a lot of people would look at these line by lines, and I'll show you a slide when I wrap up that does that, just goes line by line to kind of wrap everything up. And they'll think Brother A is still doing well. So now let's look at what happens during retirement. And that's really where this works and where it really kicks in. You've got to understand how these products work, right? So a 401k, Brother A he needs a $55,000 a year income, right? That's what he wants to have after tax. Well, because none of that money's been taxed, it's going to be taxed at the current income rate as it comes out. So if anyone has taken money out of a 401k or out of an IRA, you understand that. You understand how that works. So in order for him to have a $55,000 after-tax or take-home income, he's got to take withdrawals of $70,000 at his current tax rate. At $70,000 in this year's tax rates, it'd be $15,400 in tax, but for argument's sake, $15,000. So he nets 55, but he's out of money in 17 years. Based on the rules of thumb, he cannot afford on that account to draw that much money. He also has no living benefits and still has no life insurance. Now, Brother B has a $619,000 cash value in that policy that was structured for him. He's going to borrow from that cash value $55,000 a year in the form of a loan that's tax-free. Now, he's not going to have to take out 70. He's not actually withdrawing any money at all. He's borrowing it against his cash. So the way this works, and obviously it would take a little bit more questions for you to understand why it works that way. So I hope you trust me enough that it works this way to reach out and ask why and how and get your questions answered. So, but after 30 years, he's got over $455,000 in cash value still in there. That's at age 95. He's also got a death benefit that's still kicking there as well. Again, now he's taken this out for 30 years, not run out at 17. So I like for people to understand that it's not necessarily about how much you make, it's about how much you keep. So if you think about the end game and not get caught up in the tax deduction today, you'll understand how important it is that you can position yourself for that income down the road at a tax-free way to draw it out. So I said I would go through this, and we will have some time probably if there are questions, but I don't want to go crazy on that because we've got these boot camps and these other things that are coming up this next week that we'll be doing in Atlanta, where we're going to do a little bit of diving into this. But by the numbers, line by line, if you look at these, I like to say, who won line one? Brother A, right? Okay, great. The old way is my way. I like it, right? I'm going to stick with it. Who won line two? And this is kind of how we think about our retirement planning is what I want to win early, right? I want to defer my taxes, kick them down the road as far as I can. Brother A, he's got to, right? But in this line item, he's taking out $70,000. The IRS sees $70,000 a year coming out of that 401k, so they tax it at that rate. Brother B is taking that loan, borrowing that $55,000. So here it looks like Brother A has a higher income. According to the IRS, Brother B there doesn't have any income at all. It's because it's borrowed money, and borrowed funds aren't taxable. I don't go borrow home equity and I pay interest on it, but I don't pay tax on it. He's paying $15,000 a year in income tax, and Brother B is not paying any in income tax. So, wow, okay, now this is the first line out of 4 where Brother B is winning, right? Okay, let's see where Brother B goes with this. So they have the exact same net income. Brother A is out of money in 17 years if the market cooperates and doesn't correct. That's what the tiny little parenthesis there says. Now, that's not too bad. He's taken $935,000 out of an investment that had $708,000 at age 65. Now, that's based on a flat number and the market doing exactly that. But take a look at this. Again, the same net income coming for Brother B, but he's able to take that out for 30 years and continue to take that money out beyond 30 years. He's withdrawn, now follow me, $1.65 million tax-free from an asset that showed a cash value of $619,000 at retirement, and he's still going. The reason is because of the way these two different vehicles handle taxation. And they're, like I said, definite reasons that these work this way. I hope that you see this. Now, the other question that people have, and sometimes we talk about, is, okay, so yes, in using an IUL or using one of these, plans that we're talking about like this, it's cash value life insurance. I'll lay it right out there. And the wealthy have been using it for decades. That's why they're still wealthy. They understand these concepts. Now, $255,000 in tax paid over those 17 years. I do like to point that out because he had a $65,000 tax deduction over 30 and then paid back in order to get that $65,000 deduction, he paid back over $255,000 in the next 17. So this is what the IRS saw when they made those changes, in my humble opinion. It was a they know every year how much money is in qualified accounts, how many people in that block are turning 59 and a half and are going to start withdrawing it, how many people are turning 72 and they're going to have to start taking their retired minimum distributions. Those numbers are very hard, fast numbers that are part of our federal budget at this point in time. They know that. You have a big partner in your 401k or IRA, and that is Uncle Sam, because he owns a lot of that asset. And that's what we want to teach people, how not to not pay taxes, but how to use the laws and the regulations that are out there so you can benefit best yourself. I don't mind paying my fair share, but I want it to be fair. So in this case, yes, there was cost of insurance. So I paid tax on my income up front, and I did pay for life insurance. But if I can get to this point with anyone that I'm talking to, and I can say, if the policy costs over 30 years were less than the taxes paid on those 17, and I had the benefit of the life insurance and the living benefits and the tax protection over that entire time, why would I not do it? Even if I had no reason to buy life insurance, if I thought I didn't have an insurance need, it still makes sense to use this. Protecting your future insurability, protecting your ability to contribute to this kind of a policy. What happens if you do get sick? You have to qualify medically for these kind of things. So all the more reason to get started now and have that protection in place. So caps, and then I say no restrictions here. If a lot of people, you ask somebody that's in the Gen Z or whatever, they're going to tell you that I want to retire when I'm 35 and I want to make $300,000 a month. Well, you can't do that under the qualified guidelines. You have caps as far as how much you can contribute. You also have restrictions as to when you can withdraw that money. So Brother B, the new way, and using these types of strategies will lift those caps, lift those restrictions, as long as, like it says there in the small print, when structured properly. There are a lot of people out there that have a nasty taste in their mouth about these types of products because they didn't deal with a company like HGI. They didn't deal with representatives like you and I that set them up properly. And it's very easy with the click of a button to set them up more for commission than it is for long-term benefits of your customers. And that's not us. That's not what we do. So again, I want you guys to have your questions, ask your questions to whoever sent you this link or invited you to get on this call today. And I do have a few minutes for those of you that are live. If you have a specific question, don't want to go down in the weeds too much, but and then Kimberly, Jody, anybody else that wants to come on and add or give your own 2 cents, I'm happy to have your company.
Well, I think anybody who tries to add 2 cents is adding 2 cents too many. I think it was fantastic. I don't think we need any more cents. Honestly, I think, listen, guys, I'm going to be very clear. We've got a lot of training we're working on in Atlanta to get our guys up to speed. We're doing what's called the boot camps. But I want to be very clear. If everyone learned to give the bot, if everyone knew how to go give the little inside abacus, the review of the first presentation there, and then you go through and you gather the data. When you come back and it's time, and if you did nothing but memorize what was just told you, we're ready to go. That's it. Now, obviously, there's the processes of learning applications and things that go like that of what you're going to learn. And we're working hard to make sure we got that doing world class. That's it, guys. It's just that simple. And I love the simplification of the process. Now, Zach did focus good on the front end of how things got to where it's at. You don't have to go over that first part all the time with everyone you're talking to. He did a very good, thorough job, as he was supposed to go over kind of how it got to that point. Once you get to that three-legged stool, that point on, that's the wheelhouse. So
yeah, the facts are that people aren't, it doesn't matter why we got to where we got to where. I like to know, right? And some people might ask that question as well. If it's such a bad idea, why is my company offering a 401k? It's just old advice.
Yes.
It's just an old product, and we've gotten it set in our ways. That's really the only thing you got to be able to articulate to them is be smart, look at outside the box, and get yourself prepared for something different. And a lot of times the 401k is part of their overall plan also, right? A lot of
Right.
times the match is dollar for dollar up to 5 or 6%. I'm not telling anybody not to take 100% return on their investment. That's free money. But what I am going to say is for those of you that are overfunding and that are putting 15% into your 401k every year, take that difference and put it somewhere where you can have a tax preferred treatment and also a tax free withdrawal. So, yeah, great. I love this stuff. I love everything that we do. And ironically, not really ironically, but I love managed money, and there's money that belongs in the market as well. So this is not a one tool
Yeah.
retirement process that we're offering. We're offering truly solutions that get you to the end goal. So that's why it's really important
Yeah.
to learn these things if you are a professional so that you can articulate them. But if you're not, involve somebody that can help you with it. So, yeah, thanks for
Absolutely.
the opportunity to be here. And I'm looking forward to Atlanta next week. And um, we've got some team retreats on bookending either side of this fantastic
Yeah.
Atlanta takeover that's happening in the evenings. You saw the flyers, you saw all those kind of things. If you have questions about how to integrate those into your Zyberzeus, I'm sure that people can help you with that. Mauricio has been working tirelessly on the calculators and on the Zyberzeus integration and the QR codes and everything else. And there's a lot of work and energy that's going behind this. And if you want to grow your team fast, and you want it to be done with all this professional whiz bang and not just sitting on your shoulders, take advantage of this next week. I bet even if you're not in Atlanta, you know somebody who is. So invite them, reach out. We'll be there. If you have conversation with somebody and they're coming, make sure that Jody knows or that Kimberly and I know or whoever that you have connections with in that room. We'll take care of them. We'll bring them in and we'll get them added to the team. So excited about the event. It's fantastic. We've done it a couple times before. We've not done the boot camp portion. That's going to be really great for those of you that were invited to that. It's invitation only. It's based on where you are in your business and what we think you can handle from that perspective. So if you're new and you don't know about the boot camp, don't worry. Keep focused on the system. The system will help you get to that next boot camp. So
Uh, And then also, if you don't mind, real quick, Kimberly, if you could make Mauricio co-host, and thank you so much, Zach. And what an incredible asset, guys. We're back to basics. We're only going to talk about this. We're going to wear it out, and until everybody here can just in their sleep go over what you just heard, there's nothing else to really talk about. And matter of fact, those of you that happen to be coming to the boot camp, I would encourage you to watch and rewatch this and and learn it from this, so we don't have to spend as much time on it next week to free that up for some other things. All right, Mauricio, we'll turn it over to you for a few minutes as we wrap up. If you don't mind talking a little bit about how they can go make that flyer if they do want to do it, and also let them see the landing page that we have and maybe one or two other things. So thank you for all that you do.
Not a problem. It's always my pleasure. So yeah, it's actually quite simple, guys. I'm going in your chat. In the chat, there is a code. Um, it's right below. You'll find it. It says, "Here's the page and how it looks." So we use CyberZoo's and a little bit of AI to create this page for the event, and it works perfectly within the tool. It can change to Espanol with one click of a button here. I mean, just in case it's needed, you can see the changing of it. We could make it to any language, but obviously those seem to be the two languages that we are using. So if you want to have your own unique landing page so that the leads come to your CRM and you know who they are, so you basically grab that code which I sent you on the chat. I'm gonna just copy it here. That's the same ID I'm copying here. And what you want to do once you log into your Cybersuits, which by the way, if you go through Aristotle, there is a few buttons over here where you can give permission. There's a pop-up blocker that you need to disable for this page so that you can hop right from Aristotle to Cyberzeus. If you click on Cyberzeus from Aristotle and it doesn't take you here, you can see up in the left-hand side next to the uh, refresh circle here, arrow. You can click on that and you can just allow the page to open. And then you only have to do it once. That's it, just one time. Okay. So once you are in your Cybersource account and you are in the funnel section, remember the fun is in the funnels. So you wanna code this in 2 seconds. What you do is over to your right, there is a clone funnel. You see this button here called clone, clone. We started cloning funnels, first and then cloning anything else. So you can add that ID here where it says funnel ID. You can literally just paste it there, like I just did right now. And then you just submit. And what's going to happen is you're going to get this duplicate page come up, which will have the name and also your name in the URL. And it will have the same name, Atlanta Economic Summit. All you do is duplicate it. You see this button down here? Just kind of look for the buttons. It guides you through. Duplicate it. Now, what it does, it has to launch the builder so that the system can actually replicate or the page can replicate in your system. And that'll take about 5 seconds. You'll see it building. Don't touch anything. I mean, you don't have to. But once you see because of the code, of the way the code is, you can see pretty much the page has a long black gap at the top. But just scroll down, you'll see the page there show. It's going to look perfectly once you actually publish it. The way that you publish it is just click on the green button again, publish and go back, which is you publish the page and you are done. This thing is going to publish and then you will see it right on your funnels. So when you click on it, now you have a lot of things you can do. When you click on share, you have your own QR code that you can put on your page, on your flyer. You can share it with friends and family that you want to invite. Like you go to your list and say, "Hey, I want to invite Jody to come to the workshop." So I'm gonna go here. Is updating, not the WhatsApp needs updating. So perfect timing, right? But let me just say I want to share it on social media. It says WhatsApp is downloading updates and will need to restart to apply them. Okay. I don't know if we want to wait for that, but when you actually do share via the WhatsApp, you can put a note, personal note, and just share it with whomever. This is what you are sharing. It tells you right here what you're sharing. Again, I think it's going to continue asking for, okay, those updates. So if I find Jody here and this forward to, right, I can find Jody and then I can forward that to Jody. So he's going to get it. And when Jody clicks on it, he's going to say, okay, here we have the money game thing going, boom, boom, boom. And that person can actually register for the event with the guests and whatever. So that now becomes a lead of mine. And that quickly you can actually be sharing because now I just registered.
Got
It's
it and
58.
responded.
Um, was that Jody?
Said I just got it and responded.
Yeah, well, there you go. You can respond, but you can also click on it and register.
I did.
I
That's what I'm
registered,
saying.
and 12:58.
This,
So what you could do here is you can
yeah.
keep track of who is registering, right? At
Mhm.
what time, and then you could set different automation on it. So it's that simple, and obviously you can share in any media. I know we have training on Zoom at 2:30 today, but when you are sharing, if you're gonna do WhatsApp sharing, make sure you add a personal note like, hey, we're gonna be talking about da. You can add your personal note there and then share the WhatsApp, share on Facebook, share on Twitter, share on LinkedIn, share, or download your QR code and put it on social media so people can do that. But they'll be landing on your page and you'll know exactly who is coming. And it just took a few seconds. So if there's any questions, I will see you at 2:30 Eastern time on training with the Zaba Zoos training. So I hope that helps, guys.
Yeah, thank you so much. And guys, one other thing, listen, is that don't be afraid of these tools. Just go use them. I mean, Chat GPT is an amazing thing that literally can move around, and it's all these things are getting to the point to where we're literally going to be out recruiting and building and selling the dream. I want you to listen carefully. This is a product conversation, but I'm going to end with the number one product, and that's the opportunity. If you have the ability to go sell the dream, and what's going to happen is these tools are so in place that less and less training is going to be needed over as we go forward, and you literally will have a plug and play. There's never been a time better to be alive. There's never been a time better to be in business. Never been a time to have more tools than we have available today. It is phenomenal. We have the best human training, and we have all the technology that's here and it's on its way to create just that much more strength. So what an incredible day. Thank all of you for being on. Get in the invitation business between now and next Tuesday like never before. Let's make it happen. Can't wait to see all of you here in Atlanta and on Zoom. Thanks for all that you do. At 1:30 today, I'll be doing a live BOP for anyone that's from the real estate and professional background. Got one tomorrow, Thursday night, tomorrow night at 9. And then you guys have all yours. So I know the team's moving like never before. I appreciate it. But the bottom line is we've got to help families. If we're not helping families, one is we're not doing our job, we're not fulfilling our mission, and we're not making money, which is all the things that are all why you're in the business. Have a great day.